good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut. He didn't cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Dega. And this portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, a lot going on, all over here in the Twin Cities. I know, the American Indian movement and Indigenous peoples movement are getting revved up. It looks like at the Indian Center, I saw that they were painting up some banners there and for Pipestone, and that was good to see. And we support them as much as we can here at Native Roots Radio, and also me as a person of the community. So Haley, I have to dust off my AIM jacket and jean jacket and get it ready for this upcoming action.
Yes,
or
yes.
actions.
Right. Yeah, so I think you meant Indigenous Protectors Movement
Yeah.
and AIM, American Indian Movement. Yeah, they were doing some protesting, making some protest signs and getting ready for the fight against the pipeline going in Pipestone, Minnesota. So
Yeah.
always are behind them and the work that they do, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, right on. Hey, let's get going here. We have our friend Ruth Buffalo from Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center, and we're always really glad to see Ruth. Ruth, welcome to Native Roots Radio.
Dosha, hello, Madzigadadz. Thank you for having me.
Right on. Hey, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on, and you have a lot happening at the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. Let's talk a little bit about, well, first, like the fall equinox, how do you incorporate the season to your everyday life, and especially during the change of the seasons? And what is Minnesota Indian Resource Center doing with this groovy time of year?
I think just definitely enjoying each other's company and trying to build community where we can, whether it's in-house or strengthening partnerships and relationships outside of the building, on the outside, as you can say. But yeah, we're always talking about, how can we help those in need the most on the outside, on the outside of MIWRC. But yeah, we're enjoying, the beautiful weather. We have a beautiful sweat lodge on site now, and so in the courtyard area. But we are planning and working on getting more opportunities, more ways to bring people together and to definitely supplement or complement what's already existing. We're going to have a monthly women's luncheon. We had 2 different convenings in August, September. Pretty busy month, celebrating our 40th anniversary, which was amazing. Super proud of our staff and the community, the sponsors, everybody who made the event a complete success. It's so fun to hear different community members near and far share, stories of people who, like today we came across an individual at the county level whose relative was one of the original founders of MIWRC. So it's pretty cool to get connected and have people share, good-hearted stories and memories of MIWRC. But yes, to answer your question, we're doing a lot of planning and trying to enjoy the weather as much as we can. I think within my household, we are just trying to spend as much time together as a family, get to see the Bryans on the weekend. And then the kids are just outside playing all the time, going to parks, exercising. I have my electric scooter, so it's kind of, I feel a little guilty because I should be
Huh.
walking or biking, but I'm following them in that electric scooter. So
Wow, like a true auntie. Whoa.
it's fun too. I'll be like doing circles around them, and
Beautiful.
so
We have
yeah.
to see video of that. That that brings me to another question too. Is like maybe we can be a little more specific. What's happening on your calendar
Sure.
at Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center? I know it fills up really quick, and there's a lot of really good stuff, and significant stuff like having a sweat lodge in your courtyard. That's significant.
It sure is. It's a huge blessing, and we're super thankful to have have a sweat lodge here on site. And we've heard so much good feedback from community members, and it's definitely a huge source of healing. And so, just super grateful and amazed by our beautiful staff who continue to show up and do good heart work to help heal our community.
Wow, yeah, definitely. I noticed that cradle board making's happening. Can you talk a little bit about that? And especially seeing that I'm a choka now, I have two little ones that are like 7 weeks old now.
Yes, gosh, we had a few different events since I've been here, and that have been hosted through our traditional birthing program, but also a lot of partnerships in-house, like with our family services program, also NUJMO, that helps victims or individuals, survivors of gender-based violence. And so all of our programs are definitely interconnected. And so we work to provide healing and support in any which way that we can. And so definitely taking care of moms, dads, babies is so critically important here at MIWRC.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I know grandparents are involved too. And I'm a grandparent now, and it was amazing. I was at my general council, and we got two car seats as being grandparents, and now we have car seats for our little ones, and we're excited to cruise them around when they get a little older and take them across the border, I guess, but everywhere.
Yeah, every bit helps. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. It's amazing, and it's such a blessing to have babies here in the workplace. We have two babies here, both girls, that are here on a daily basis with us in the workplace here at MIWRC. So it's always fun to try to give our staff a break and say, hey, you need a break. We're always trying to like see who can hold the babies
Oh,
and have fun, or just take time to support one another. And we also have another baby on the way. That is going to be a boy here in the workplace. I mean, of course, granted after the time allotted for the leave and all of that, but we're all patiently waiting. But yeah, it's so beautiful to have the little ones here in the workplace with us.
that's awesome. Haley, you have experience in that too. Years ago, you worked in that field.
I
During
do.
school, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I've worked at a couple Montessori's and infant classrooms and stuff like that. This is something Ruth and I we were able to touch on quickly earlier, but we just learned that the Jolly Jumper was indigenously made, actually by an Ojibwe woman from White Earth Nation here. And for those of you who don't remember the Jolly Jumper, I was kind of like obsessed with this as a baby and an infant, and my mom could not get me out of my jumper. But yeah, I thought that was really cool that this woman, I'm blanking on her name now, but she got the inspiration from cradle boards to make that.
Right. I
Olivia
believe,
Pohl.
Yeah.
yes, beautiful. That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. I mean, it's so cool too, because I mean, I love the physical fitness part of things, with like being active, and then how different movements will say, like food is medicine, or exercise movement is medicine. It's all medicine. And we actually, as a staff, convened, yesterday, which was Monday, for some quick Tai Chi easy exercises after we did a fun icebreaker before our leadership team meeting. But yeah, that physical fitness or physical activity is so much a part of who we are, I think, as people as well.
Hey, we're here with Ruth Buffalo. We're going to take a quick break. This is Native Roots Radio, and I need an adult jumper. We'll be right back after this short break. Oh, wow.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
We have survived many traumas.
We are awake. Our eyes, spirit, and hearts are open.
Now is the time to clean up our thinking, our treatment of others, most of all, our treatment of ourselves.
We need to learn about genocide, trauma, enrollment policies, lateral violence, boarding schools, rape introduced to us through colonization.
Some of us believe these lies.
Because to oppose them would be fatal.
There is much healing needed.
We need to be a part of helping to heal our nations.
Today, I promise myself to not hurt anyone with my thoughts, my feelings, my words, or my actions.
I know I can only control myself.
I will get help when I need it.
I will take good care of me.
For when I do,
I am the resistance.
I am the prayers of my ancestors, and now I am the resilience manifesting into the light of today.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Discover the emotional depth and vivid storytelling of Jay White's Arikara Proper at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This solo exhibition celebrates Arikara culture through the lens of an urban Indian perspective. Experience themes of empowerment, depictions of Native women, stars, and star quilts within White's vibrant acrylic paintings. Arikara Proper is showing now through October 5th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Get inspired by Jay White's powerful storytelling on canvas. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by NACDI's Four Sisters Food Sovereignty Program. Join them for Phillips Farms bike tour in South Minneapolis on September 28th from noon to 4 p.m. to learn about locally grown foods and share a meal. Learn more and sign up for this free event at nacdi.org/events.
Hey, am I having a stroke?
I don't know.
Are you having the same stroke I am?
I did. My audio was a little off. Is that the stroke you were talking about?
Yes, it was.
Okay, me too.
Okay, we're fine then. All right, we can move on.
Yes.
Cool. Hey, we are here back with our friend Ruth Buffalo, President and CEO of Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. And Ruth, I'm wondering, can you talk about any of the history and what the Cradle Board does to our listening audience? I hate to jump over that because we know, but there's a lot of people that listen to our show that don't know kind of what we're talking about.
Gosh, well, I hate to be the spokesperson for all 500 plus tribes, but no, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Well, I mean, as a Hidatsa woman raised in the Hidatsa Mandan, amongst the my mom's Hidatsa Mandan, my dad is Chiricahua Apache from the Southwest, so I grew up on the plains and Mandaree. So I know respectively that each of the different tribal nations have each of their beautiful stories, as do they have, similarly with like creation stories and all the things. So I want to make sure I'm being respectful in that manner. And I know that oftentimes we can be the most critical of each other as well. So I want to toe the line and tread lightly here, but I think a general basic understanding of cradle boards there's a lot of different meanings to them. And so, yeah, I think our traditional birth worker and traditional birthing director Baji would be an amazing person to bring on the show, to where she can speak in depth on the cradle board. Also, moss bags that also go along with the cradle board. But I know that I think generally, oftentimes, unfortunately, a lot of ways of our beautiful ways have been misinterpreted over time, yet they have withstood the test of time. And so there's just a lot of beauty in our daily practices that are still being practiced today. I know that one of my relatives who was a guest on here before, and she would be also an amazing person to speak to cradle boards. She was a part of a cradle board contest that was held in Bismarck a few weeks ago at the International United Tribes International Powwow that was held on the United Tribes Technical College campus.
Mhm.
And she has a very strong and amazing story to share. And so it was beautiful. I'm not sure if you caught it, but I think it was also on powwows.com. And it
Mhm.
showed all the women out there dancing traditional women's style with the cradle boards on their back, kind of like a backpack would be for those that aren't
Mhm.
familiar with what a cradle board is or how it's used. But it was, a way to just stay connected, I would say, just to protect our babies and to provide still a safe and nurturing space for our babies.
Yeah, good way to answer that. Sorry about that. I didn't want you to speak for
No
all
worries.
the tribes, but that's a really good point because we're all so different, but we all kind of are similar but very different, and there's no really pan Native American response to that. So, Ruth, I appreciate that, and thank you for the reminder. Hey, I want to also talk about the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, or Orange Shirt Day, that's coming up on the 30th, and this day acknowledges that residential schools are part of our history, and wearing orange is a national movement and to recognize the experience of those who went to residential schools, to honor them and show a collective commitment to ensure that every child matters. And I know it's been really serious the last few years with all our relatives being found in low graves outside schools, especially starting in Canada.
Yes, for sure. I think that with a lot of different movements, our relatives north of the medicine line in Canada have been above the mark for raising awareness, or at least a little bit further along, with all due respect, in addressing the various atrocities that our First Nations relatives or peoples have faced. And so definitely acknowledging 100% the leaders north of us who have shed light on all of the horrific abuses that our people have faced, especially, the residential schools, boarding schools. And so I know that there are a number of different events being held across the country in recognition or in observance of Orange Shirt Day, I believe on September 30th. But I think Canada, there's also different days there, and then the Reconciliation Day. And so I know, yeah, based off of my time, researching the topic and being involved, coming from unfortunately a lineage or peoples, or, our family have or were sent to boarding schools, including Pipestone. My grandparents on my mom's side both were sent to Pipestone. So Pipestone has also a different meaning for our family, aside from the pipeline, but also the abuses that took place there towards our children when they were very, very young. And so, yes, September 30th is a day to acknowledge the harms that have been done towards tribal people. And so it's good to raise awareness and to come together to find solutions and to ultimately heal from these abuses. Many believe ongoing abuses. And I know I used to always go up to Spirit Lake love the area, and I don't believe I'll be able to make it back this year. It will be their 4th annual Orange Shirt Day at Spirit Lake Nation at Fort Totten, at the original site of a boarding school there. Had the experience of touring that school one time after we spoke at an event there, and Dr. Denise Lajdemir from Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians wrote a lot of books and research on boarding schools, and she brought myself and another woman down to the area there, because it was old army barracks, kind of similar to like Carlisle. We were also out at Carlisle October 2018 when Dr. Michael Yellowbird, myself, and another individual, we were all voted on to be board members of the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition. And it's where I got to meet the late Marlene Helgamo.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's just a lot of good work that has been done by, I think of her a lot in terms of moving the needle forward towards justice for our Indigenous peoples, our tribal peoples, our tribal communities. And so I know September 30th is a day that's recognized nationally to come together and recognize the atrocities that our children, our babies faced, and especially acknowledging that many of our children have not been returned to their families. And so can kind of speak a little bit to that too, where helped, be a part of some of the filing at the United Nations in terms of holding the United States federal government accountable in trying to find ways to locate the missing children who have never returned from these boarding schools.
Well, what's interesting, Ruth, too, is that didn't happen that long ago. And it's important to talk about that, too, because anyone that's Native has had either an auntie, uncle, gaga, grandma, or somebody that's been involved with the residential school. And again, we bring that up because it really wasn't that long ago.
100%. I think of a time when, in another life, when I was a state representative, a lawmaker, during the pandemic, my second session within a 4-year term, met every other year. We introduced a bill, a temporary Truth and Healing Commission, but in doing the research prior to getting the bill introduced, I remember visiting with individuals out in California who shared their work there. They have a different setup in their government, state government, but they had shared, they believed that some things could not be reconciled, therefore they didn't include reconciliation. And one of my uncles talks about forgiveness, and that's kind of, that's not really talked about. That's not readily talked about. That's not readily available. No, I'm just kidding. But it just isn't really at the forefront, I think. But I think because it's such a huge issue that has always been swept under the rug or skirted over, that people are pushing for the acknowledgement first, because we know in order to heal, it first has to be acknowledged.
A big Peenigigi. Thank you, Ruth Buffalo, for stopping in and with your powerful words, as always. Great to see you. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Housing, clean water, transportation, transit and parks. The Met Council is charged with planning for the Twin Cities metro region, and your help is needed. This Wednesday at 5 o'clock, the Met Council is asking you to share your ideas for the best future for the Twin Cities. It's called Imagine 2050, the latest regional planning guide, which will shape public policy and drive growth over the next 30 years. It focuses on improving the everyday essential services we provide, including transportation, housing, water resources, and parks and trails, with input directly from the 7 counties and the 181 cities and townships in the region. But you can't write a regional plan without talking to the people of the region. Stop by September 25th. Share your thoughts and your dreams for the Twin Cities. Let's imagine a better, brighter 2050 together. Visit engage.metrocouncil.org to learn more.
Greg Bakken here. Let's go on a paranormal investigation together. There is no better place to do that than a one-of-a-kind event we're holding at the haunted 300 Clifton Mansion in downtown Minneapolis, Monday, September 30th. This unique event starts with a quick 101 on how to use the equipment. Then we take a very special trolley tour. And unlike normal candlelight ghost tours, we stop at one of the locations on the tour and do a paranormal investigation right there. We return to the 300 Clifton Mansion and embark on a paranormal investigation throughout the beautiful 20,000 square foot home, exploring the large formal living rooms, secret passageways, and basements deep below, including areas not normally accessible to the public. The 101 and investigations are led by Char Savoy and myself. Tickets are limited. This event starts at 6:30 p.m. Monday, September 30th, with a couple of pricing options available, and tickets are available at 300clifton.com. Look for Ghostbox Radio Candlelight Ghost Trolley Tours on the main page.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, clear with a low of 53, then Wednesday, sunshine with a high of 77. Join us Tuesday night, October 1st at the Park Tavern in St. Louis Park for our vice presidential debate watch party as Governor Tim Walz takes on Weird J.D. Vance. Tickets are $25 and you can get them at am950radio.com.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Met Council. They're asking for your help to shape the future of the Twin Cities. Join them this Wednesday, tomorrow at 5 p.m. for Imagine 2050, a regional plan that focuses on improving housing, transportation, parks, and water resources. Share your ideas and help create a better Twin Cities. Visit engage.metrocouncil.org to learn more.
And also bring your transistor radio, Haley, along with you and listen to Native Roots Radio at the same time.
Nice. Yeah.
Good one. Hey, there's our friend Darek Delille, who's a manager of Making Voting a Tradition, a civic engagement with the Native American Community Development Institute. And welcome. As always, I hope you're not driving there and on the radio show at the same time.
Nope, wouldn't do that. Yeah, I just pulled in. We're going to check out some Pee Wee football. So it's a good day for some football. And glad to be with you guys.
Hey, Big Peeny Gigi, thanks for being on. And who's playing football?
I got a nephew out here, Riker. So big shout out to Riker. Let's get the win.
Yeah, sack the quarterback and throw the touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Not at the same time though. It reminds me of the Vikings are doing very well this year too. So a shout out to them. And I know we have a lot of Wisconsin listeners on Civic Media across Wisconsin, and the big game is next Sunday. I do hear.
Ooh, wow. Gotta watch that one.
It is. Yes. I am born and raised Milwaukee. I moved up to Minneapolis about 7 years old, so I've been here since.
Mhm.
I'm one of the rare fans that loves both those teams.
Right.
rare.
Hey, that's a good one. Good one. Hey, so let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. The polls are kicking butt here, and you got some things going on here. You're hosting a women's native triathlon, or not hosting, but that's what's coming up here. And well, what is going on with making the voting tradition? And I know we got a big debate going on coming up, and a lot happening. And I know the polls, and I'm not a big poll watcher, but they look really good, and I'm just really grateful and hopeful.
Yeah, I'm hopeful also. It's really good to see these polls come in, but as I've gotten older, we know enough with our experience of watching these things. A lot of times those polls, the numbers are a little skewed at times. I don't generally pay too much attention to those polls, but it is good to see the numbers come in. I want to see the numbers come in. It gives us a little bit of information on where our states are at, where we stand in Minnesota, our close relative Wisconsin, of course. I know there's a rivalry in the football, but when you talk about Native people, we're pretty related when it comes to Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Right.
And so, yeah, to see those numbers of the polls come in, they're very interesting, and I think we're making some good headway. Of course, I got to be as nonpartisan as I can be. I got to be right down the middle. But I can always speak about our Native people and what's important to us. And that's where I try to keep it. Our sovereignty is always on the ballot. You'll hear that echoed with my coworker, Jolene Jones. When you talk MMIW, that's always on the ballot. When you talk about our wild rice beds, always on the ballot. Think about when we're in the urban area, when you're over south there, in our neighborhood, our native neighborhoods, the health of that soil. I always try to target the health of that soil. That's always on the ballot. So these are things we can really put out there and say, do your studies, check into these people who are running for those offices. Please do your due diligence and find out who's going to be best for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that. We just want our relatives to be involved. We want everyone to be registered. We want everyone to make a good choice, as you say, and think about the facts too. So that's really good medicine, Darek, that you talk.
Yeah, it's that important.
You're
It
our
really
new.
is.
You're our new on air smudging. Ho-wah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a lot to live up to, but I will try my best to speak in a good way about our people, because we are coming along just fine. Now, when it comes to experience, I lived in Minneapolis for 17 years. I moved up to the reservation, Fond du Lac Reservation, and I stayed there for 20 years. So I have this interesting experience from both rural and urban. And when I speak about our program in particular, there's a lot of energy and excitement with the youth. They see us doing this work. They see our artists being thrust upon the scene, being utilized and paid to do what they do best. They see and feel this good energy, and they see us working. They see us out working and making a living doing this. This is very important for our youth to see.
Right.
I always try to remember when I was young and in these same cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, and there wasn't a whole lot of this, Robert, as you know. As many of us around my age and older, we all know this. This wasn't here. These things weren't established yet. So me being out and prideful and smiling and energetic, I have to do that. I think that's a big part of the civic engagement piece. The 50% of my job is to be out there and get that energy out there and say, hey, we can make a difference. We do have power. Get out there and vote. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it together.
Yeah, that's amazing that you say that, because I really feel like you are a good example to our young ones in a positive way. And yeah, I mean, there's many ways to say that, but we really appreciate you here on Native Roots Radio. Your positivity is real, and it's good for our young ones and our not so young ones to see too.
Yeah. Yeah. They also get a big payoff from that. I believe this 100% when our elders get to see us out there doing this work and being self-determined and getting it done and pushing through when times get rough. But also that key, what you just stated, being positive. We're doing okay. Okay. Yep. It got rough. Let's get up. Let's go. Let's get together and let's do it. We can do it. That's a really good attitude for those elders to see. It gives them hope into the future. We got to remember how they think. Their thinking is very different than ours, much like when we think about a child. We want the best for them, and they also want the best for us. So I think it's out of respect to be in this good way. And I echo the sentiment towards you guys also. You do an amazing job. I love your show. I do everything to put your names out there in a good way. You're doing great work.
Well, we really appreciate that. And it's because Haley does great work. I'm just a conduit to great work and great guests. So I really appreciate both you and Haley, our guests too, are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our guests such as Darek.
Yes. Yes. But great job by Haley too, as the producer of the show over a year now. I got to get you a plaque or something. I'll make one down in the basement. But that's awesome.
We could make T-shirts or something.
Yeah, there you go. Well, making voting a tradition is just a great name of an organization. How long has that organization been around? And especially, I know a couple of voting cycles for sure.
Yeah, 10 years. This program specifically has been around. It has been since maybe 2017. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But there was a survey put out and they were asking, well, why is our program, if you want us to vote, if that is so important to you that we get out and vote, then why isn't this a year-round thing? And ever since then, we listened to what the people asked, and that's what we wanted to do, is a culturally specific year-round program. Let's keep people in the loop. Let's give them lots of information. That's one of the big parts of the job. Let's be visible. Let's work with the artists and contract our finest artists, and raise that visibility. Multi-generational, of course, we engage both the youth and our elders. Very important to get both views. In that way, we can look into the past a little bit and see maybe we didn't do something so right. We can fix those things, and then we can also look into the future and say, wow, we have some really up and coming leaders amongst us. Let's grab them. We take an asset-based mindset into our work. So instead of filling a gap in our community, we look and say, wow, that person is a special person. Maybe we should reach out to them and try to work with them. I think that is just one of the most beautiful things about my program, but also my organization as a whole.
I think it's a great point, Derek, and we're back down to our last minute here. It's a great point that you are year-round because, you know, we talk about our politicians just wanting a vote and then never seeing them again. So it's great that Make Voting a Tradition is still there year-round, can answer questions and be supportive of people that want to learn more about voting.
It's a very good way to go about things. We need it. We needed this energy. We need to know that we can make a change. We can make systems change. We can make our world better for our future. That's the most important thing.
Thanks, Darek Delille of Make Voting a Tradition. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Oh, wow.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
True healing happens from within. When you learn to tap into the innate wisdom of your body, transformative healing can begin. Discover the intimate relationship between your mind, body, and nervous system. Learn simple practices that create transformative changes in your body and being. Join us at resolvepainguru.com for your journey into healing from pain, exhaustion, and stress. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Resolve Pain Guru.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
Protect your children from measles. Measles is a serious disease that spreads easily and can lead to hospitalization and death. The best way to prevent measles is by getting the MMR vaccine. It is safe and effective. Hennepin County Public Health is hosting free vaccine clinics for children ages 0 through 18 this summer and fall. No registration necessary. Our next vaccine clinic is on Saturday, September 28th at Brookdale Library. Learn more by visiting hennepin.us/immunizations.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Oh.
Ooh, good one.
Hey, did you see our friend Charles said it's 420, it's hemp day today, and we want to give a shout out to Lakota hempcrete houses that are being worked on, and I believe we really support that and support our relatives working with this kind of I want to say weed, but this kind of product. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think was it something I saw too also where growing hemp along I think it was a river, but it like was such a absorbent plant that it would help with like water runoff from storms and stuff and or maybe I'm thinking of
No, that's right. And you know, to even go further, Haley, it's hemp cleans up bad things. So if there's spills and things like that, it cleans up the soil.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So hemp can be used for a lot of really great things, such as even building houses.
Right, making it into concrete, and also bamboo's up there too. That they grow so fast, they grow like weeds.
That's so true.
See what I did there with the marijuana and the weed.
Oh, smart. Yeah, little play on words there.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Hey, it's only my 8th year. I think I can figure this out here soon. soon enough.
Cool. Well, I don't know. It's always a great pleasure to have Darek on with us from NACDI. And I know that him and Heather Keeler, representative from Minnesota, Heather Keeler, have been in conversation recently, doing some speaking about civic engagement. And I know they were hoping to get on together today. And I don't know if Heather is on the line. Is she?
I would say no. She would
No.
be talking right now because I think Heather. I was listening for Heather's howl, so that gave me a clue because she enjoys howling. Howling, is that a word?
Howling?
Howling. There we
Yeah,
go.
get the L in there. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say though. Yeah, so that's a good point. But we miss Heather and we hope she's doing well. I know you almost.
It's that season now, and we appreciate the little time that she can spend with us because she's not only knocking on doors for herself, but she's for other people that she supports too. So she's busy, and we appreciate any kind of time. You know, I read this I threw everybody off, but there's something going on here on Sunday the 29th at Bede-Makaska that you might want to talk about.
Yeah, and I heard you almost bring it up with Darek there in the last segment, and he was maybe hosting that, but I don't think he will. He might be there. I know him and his wife do a lot of 5Ks, and they're really active.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see Darek there. But
he's not sponsoring it.
No, neither is he hosting it, which is okay. We still love him anyways.
Right.
Kwe Strong, and I might be saying this wrong, it is in an Anishinaabe word, KWE. Kiwe means woman. And Kwe Strong is a grassroots social movement that emerged from a desire to promote wellness within the American Indian community. Their vision has been to create a supportive space for Native women to participate in the American Indian Women's Triathlon on the chain of lakes. And for the past 12 years, the Kwe Strong Triathlon has been held at Bede-Makaska in South Minneapolis. So that will be taking place. This is a Native Women's Triathlon on Sunday, September 29th. So this weekend. The triathlon consists of canoeing, biking, and or walking and running.
It's so cool that we have Bede-Makaska now, and I've seen this event over the years, Facebook posts and the cool T-shirts they have, and again, that's exciting that our Native women are working out and doing the triathlon. And it's still going to be nice out, which is totally awesome. And what's that website again?
You can go to kwestrong.org. It's KWE strong.org.
Cool. Hey, you know, you were kind of a star there, and you also gave Native Roots Radio a shout out there with the Fire in the Village touring across Minnesota, and you had an interview with NPR. You know, that was awesome.
I did, yeah. So we got to have David Huckfeld and Annie Humphrey on the show last week for their Fire in the Village tour, which is a collective arts group that is touring across Minnesota. And I know they're doing a show in Ashland, Wisconsin coming up in October. But their tour kicked off in St. Paul a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was, a couple weeks ago now, at the Turf Club.
Have you been to the Turf Club before?
That was my first time.
Well, what'd you think?
I didn't know how much history it had to it. Yeah, it's a very is it part of First Avenue?
No, I think the people that run First Avenue own it now, but back in the day, it was like a big band place. People would go there to dance in the 40s and 30s. I believe that's when it started, but it's more up to date. But I don't know, have they changed the interior much? Because last time I was in there, it looked like from the 1940s still.
Well, I don't know what the 1940s really looked like, so it definitely smelled like history, and yeah, but it was fun. I know there were a lot of tour stickers and different stickers that entertainers have left, kind of as like a memorial.
Marking their spot that they played there or were there. Yeah, which ones did you see that caught your eye?
I mean, there were hundreds. It was like on the whole ceiling, just stickers on stickers on stickers, but I really liked Annie Humphrey's sticker.
Yeah.
It was a little, I'll try to explain it here, but both middle fingers were up and she was outside in the cold in winter, and it says no offense on it. It might have been at a protest, which is just super cool.
That's pretty funny. Now you're getting into Wendy area there, explaining visual stuff over the radio show. I love it.
Yeah, with her memes and stuff with sacred animals. Oh,
Yeah,
we love
definitely.
those.
Yeah, well, that was good explanation. Well, what else is going on? I know we want to talk about the 30th again. It's very important to wear your orange, and keep an eye out for things that are happening around the nation and elsewhere about the support of MMI or of our residential school survivors and the people that did not make it back home.
Yeah, it's really important. And I know that Ruth touched on that there's kind of certain different dates for the US and Canada on different days where we recognize the boarding school era and everything that occurred in that. But I've been seeing a lot, and I don't know if this is recently, but I've been seeing on TikTok, surprise, surprise, a couple videos of on horseback. They were returning some of the children that never made it home from boarding schools and riding them back to
Wow.
home reservations. And it was really moving.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to people too in our tribe, and they kind of say leave them in the ground. So it's pretty interesting, kind of what Ruth was saying, that we all have our different ways about us. You know, when it not one native nation really thinks the same. That we're very similar in so many ways, but there's differences too, and that's always good to bring that up, you know, and especially for us here, Haley, at Native Roots Radio, we don't speak for anybody, or we're not. We just speak for what we believe in, and then have our guests come in and speak their truth. And whether we agree or not, it's their truth, and that's what's really important to me and you, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have a lot to look forward to coming up here with the month of October with Indigenous Peoples Day and all the activities going on in Minneapolis. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah, well, great show again, Haley. Really appreciate you, and appreciate the guys at the station too. We got to
Always.
give them a shout out.
Yeah, shout out Brett and Patrick. Thank you guys. We appreciate all that you do for us.
Absolutely, we wouldn't be on here, and I would not be the king of ums when I read those commercials. They must be rolling their eyes back at the studio, going, "Can this guy read?" Hey, if you're listening to the show, you were part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground in which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office. We're still here. We are the seventh generation.
Free Leonard now.